So if you want a copy of this recording, you are more than welcome to ask for it. Jeff and I are working on getting a way to get all of the trainings to everyone. Each of the trainings that I've had so far, I have also prepared a 25 to 30 question quiz over each of the trainings that I've had. So if you cannot participate in the actual training, you can take a quiz over the training where you can still get credit for that training without having to participate. So I'm going to go ahead and get this rolling. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay. All right. So this is the TNLOA training number 3 over 2-man mechanics and technical fouls. So let's go about what we will be covering today and what we will not be covering. So first things first, what we will be covering is face-offs. So basic mechanics of the face-off, settled situations, what we need to be looking for in settled situations, what kind of fouls we're looking for, what kind of gameplay we're looking for, and what we need to be doing as officials in body position, looking at our partners, looking at goals scored, what are the mechanics of the goal scored, restarts. Those are both restarts in the defensive end of the field and on the offensive end of the field. Transition play going from one side of the field to the other side of the field, including the over and back call, and penalty relays. What we will not be talking about is the pregame equipment checks and fight mechanics. All 3 of those are going to be covered in next week's training. Fight mechanics can go by pretty quickly. The pregame is something that as a new official, you'll learn what other officials do in their pregame because every official kind of does it differently. And I actually have an entire presentation over equipment checks. It's a 40-slide PowerPoint presentation over what we're looking for within equipment checks. So first things first, the 2-person mechanics manual you can find as a PDF version on the US Lacrosse website. You can download the 2 and the 3-man mechanics manual. I highly suggest you do so. I have it downloaded and on my phone. Not that I look at it and read it before a game starts, but if I think I've done something wrong or incorrect after a game, I'll glance at it. They're both available on the US Lacrosse website on the main hub under boys game, and then it's the officials tab, and then under resources, that's where you can find the mechanics manuals. They're just always an important tool to refer to no matter how much experience you have. Just like in previous trainings that I've had, I've never had a perfect game, and very few officials have. There's always something that we know that we can work on as officials in our professional development. And part of that professional development is to know everything we can about the sport. The mechanics manual is a very, very big part of it. Now, little disclaimer is the mechanics manual is extremely black and white. Do this when this happens. Do this when this happens. Well, lacrosse is a very gray sport. Most of the time, it's not very black and white. So it's important to learn the black and white of what we need to do in our mechanics, but understand that situational awareness can change what our mechanics list out in order to put us in the best position to make the best call possible. Within our mechanics, one of the biggest things is to know your physical ability. Some people are really, really strong runners. They can get down and see the play. They're always in the right position, but they maybe don't have the best foul recognition. If you're in the best spot to make the best call, that's half of the battle. The second part of this is anticipation of the play. And this is going to come with years of experience. Even if you were not a player and became a lacrosse official, anticipation of the play and knowing what's going to occur before it happens will help get you into a better state of mind. you'll hear me say in this training is to always keep your head on a swivel. You're always kind of looking in two directions, the ball and then somewhere else, the ball and then somewhere else, the ball and then somewhere else. Well, if I'm looking at the ball and I'm looking over here as well, out of my peripheral vision, I see an offensive guy running towards another offensive guy. If I put 2 and 2 together, this guy's probably going to try to set a pick. You have to anticipate the play before it occurs so that you have that this plus this is probably going to equal this. So anticipation is key. Mechanics are only a third of the equation as an official. The other 2/3 are rules and game management and communication. It's only a third of it. Although mechanics, I push more than anything when it comes to the first years and second years of training. It is still only a third of it. You have to delve yourself into the rule book. Doesn't matter how long you've been an official, there's always something in there that someone's forgotten. There always is something that someone has forgotten. And so reading the rule book or just browsing over it every single year and looking at new rule changes and points of emphasis, which are located in the front and the back of the book, will always help you be on top of your game as an official. So just a couple of definitions before we get started. Lead official has the primary responsibility is the goal, crease in the goal line, and inline coverage. The trail official is to stay behind the play, helping to keep the ball between him and the lead official, and will have the 4-second goalie count. On a face-off, you have a wing official and the face-off official. The wing official is any official not participating in the adjudication of the face-off and will stand off the restraining line and below the wing line and is responsible for his restraining line and both wing lines. And we'll have diagrams of this. The face-off official is the official adjudicating the face-off and is responsible for pre-face-off fouls. Once the whistle blows on a face-off, there's no more pre-whistle violations. Both officials can call things in the entire area between our restraining lines. So just some key definitions. So first things first, we're going to look at our face-off setup. We covered this last week, but I'm going to cover it one more time. So we have our face-off official in the middle of the field and our wing official off to the side. I put this wing official down on the restraining line. U.S. Lacrosse puts this wing official on the wing line. So instead of this official being here, let me do this, being here on the field, there we go. U.S. Lacrosse wants this official right here. Okay, I do not like the wing official here. I would rather the wing official be here. Here's the reason. From this perspective, you're looking 180 degrees to see this side. Where if you're looking here and your body is open towards the face-off, you can see both of these wing lines and still have your restraining line as a pre-face-off violations, looking for those. Guys jockeying and pushing for position, can't do that. If their foot is over the line, that's a pre-whistle violation. Once the face-off has taken place and occurred, and this face-off official has blown his whistle and backed out of the area, all 6 of these players, both officials can call a violation for. Would it be better for this official to call any violations that happen with these 2 people? Absolutely, he's closer. But both officials have the responsibility of the entire area. So as you can see with these diagrams that I've laid out, this is before the whistle has occurred. The face-off official is responsible for these 2 individuals in the middle participating in the face-off, where the wing official is responsible for the wing lines. So you'll see these diagrams a lot in today's two-man mechanics training. From the opposite side, so this is the bench side of the field is where all of our faces are. From the bench side of the field, we have this bench side official who's now the face-off official. The same thing has occurred. This wing official is right here. He is responsible for both of the wing lines and his restraining line. This face-off official is responsible for the players during the face-off. Now, if I go back to the slide before, once the face-off has occurred, this is the pre-whistle responsibilities. Once the whistle is blown and the face-off is taking place, this official now also has the responsibility for this restraining line. So if I go back to here from the opposite side, once the face-off has occurred, this official is now responsible for his restraining line. Now, ball direction after a face-off. Our ball direction is moving this to the left. Let me play from here. Our ball direction is moving towards the left. Bench side is on the bottom of the screen. Our face-off official, who is the far side official, is going to become the trail. And our wing official, who's on the near side of the field, is going to become the lead. The wing official, who's becoming the new lead, will take the 10-second count. Our far side official, who was the face-off official becoming the new trail, will have the 20-second count. Now, if the ball is possessed on our right-hand side of the field, the defensive half of the field, the 20-second count will occur. Once it crosses midfield, the 10-second count will start. Doesn't matter if he crosses back over midfield, the 10-second count will still continue. Upon possession, both officials will yell possession. Both officials. Doesn't mean that both officials need to wind their arm, but both officials need to say possession. That is something, the echo is something that all officials must get used to doing every single time. If one official says something, the other official needs to say, echo the call. Especially if we have a far side situation. Let's say we're on the far side of the field and a possession occurs. If the official on that side of the field does not say it loud enough, and all of a sudden you have people jumping across the restraining line and the coaches are starting to go nuts because no one heard the possession call except for the people on the far side of the field, someone's going to get angry. Always yell possession and wheel your arm so that the other official can also echo that possession call. Same thing again, but now the bench side official, the official on the bottom of the screen, is the face-off official. He is now moving down to become the lead. Will still take the 10-second count. Wing official on the far side of the field will move over to take be the trail and take the 20-second count. Same thing occurs. Upon possession, both officials will yell possession. Now, possession is when a person is passing, cradling, carrying, or shooting the ball. That is possession. If he just blips the ball, goes in his stick and then back out of his stick, that's not possession. He has to pass, carry, cradle, or shoot the ball. That is possession. Now, on echoing calls on a face-off, there's two calls that we're going to echo: possession and release. Possession call is when we're between the restraining lines and one person on either team maintains possession of the ball. They pass, cradle, carry, or shoot. Or if the ball has not been possessed yet and rolls across our restraining lines. If the ball rolls across our restraining lines, we're going to yell release, which is the same basic concept as a possession call. That means all players on the field are released out of their restraining areas. Echoing calls are possession and release. From the opposite direction this time. So the face-off official's on the far side of the field, wing official on the near side of the field. The wing official will take the 20-second count to become the trail, moving to the right-hand side. Face-off official will move down to become the lead and will take the 10-second count. So basic understanding is just we're always moving with each other in the two-man mechanic. Now, here's the deal. If we have a really, really quick situation where the face-off is won very, very quickly, that face-off official who's running to the right has to hustle. Run as fast as you can, because remember, the lead's responsibility, primary responsibility, is that goal. If we're not in the right position to make a crease call or to make a good goal call, that is the fault of the official, not the fault of the players in the field. They're trying to make us go as quickly as possible. So we have to be on a high horse and move, 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 move. Now, from the opposite way, where the near side of the official is the face-off official and becomes the new trail. So basically, these first like 10 slides is just over the face-off and the mechanics within the face-off, where we're moving to. I'm not talking about really what fouls we're looking for. It's just our mechanics of where we're moving to.
Hey, Gene.
Yes, sir.
This slide says both of them take a 20-second.
I know, and it shouldn't. I know I've meant to flip flop them, but the face off of whoever becomes the lead will take the 10-second count. So that far side of the field, that wing official is going to take that 10-second count.
Thank you, sir.
The face off official become the trail is going to take the 20. Okay. Face-off mechanic. This is exactly how it's laid out with US lacrosse. With your toe, some people will use their hand, will use their finger. I will always push to use your toe. With your toe, you're going to place your toe down on the middle line, on the midline, and you're going to direct the players to where the ball is going to be placed. You will then state the down command. The player should address the upcoming ball location at the same time. You'll adjust the players as needed, place the ball on the ground in the middle of the cross heads, tops to stops. Those heads need to be tops to stops. Place your hand on top of both crosses, place your whistle in your mouth, state the set command while the whistle is in your mouth. No movement will be allowed after this command. Back out of the face-off area and blow your whistle and vary the cadence of your whistle. This is exactly how US Lacrosse wants us to adjudicate this face-off. Here's what I have learned is the better, not the better way, but the best way for us to officiate it in the most consistent way possible. Before the face-off even begins, even before we say the down command, put your foot on the midline where you want the ball to be. So those players, when they walk up, even as you're waiting for your other official to get the field ready for play, those face-off guys see where you're standing and they see where your toe is before you ever say anything to them about the face-off occurring. Put your foot down first. Leave it there. Once your official on the far side of the field gives you the ready command, his hand is out to the side. Once he gives you the ready command, then you can say, down on my toe. Down on my toe. They go down, you move your foot out of the way. I've seen several officials who have left their foot there and both of the guys will bring their sticks on either side of the guy's foot. I'm sorry, do not do that. Do not leave your foot there while both sticks are on either side of your foot. It makes no sense. Some people like Steve Konofsky has a size 16 shoe and that's bigger than 4 inches. So we have to move our foot out of the way so they can get up to the line. Once that's done, let them adjust themselves first. Try not to always touch their sticks. Try not to touch them. Command them on what they need to do. I will always say whoever is the first guy down is not moving. Let's say blue and red player are facing off. Blue player puts his stick down first. He's the first one to hit the ground. Guess what? He's not moving. The other guy is going to be moving. And this is something you can cover in a pregame with your face-off guys and all your other officials. The first guy down's not moving. Well, all of a sudden now they're going to rush to get down. Address the other guy. Tell him to move to the left or move to the right. The only time myself, I know there's someone who just put something in the chat. The only time I will ever touch a player is when I'm pushing their helmet out of the neutral zone. That's when I take my hand and literally push their helmet out. I try not to touch their sticks unless I'm saying the set command. Place the ball down in the middle of their sticks, in the middle of the head of the cross. Make sure it stays put and the ball's not moving around. Hand on top, whistle in your mouth, set, back out, blow your whistle. In this scenario, you choose how long you want to vary your cadence between the set call and the whistle. There was something I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago where US Lacrosse wanted us to get rid of what was called the swistle. The swistle is where you say set, literally as soon as you finish the T sound of set, you blow your whistle. Set, tweet. They wanted us to get rid of that and vary it a little bit. Make sure that you're far enough out. The other thing is if you're the face-off official and there is a long cross, a long pole who's facing off. I've gotten a black eye before from a long pole whipping up and hitting me in the face. If it's a long pole, now it's more dangerous for you as the official. Maybe you want to vary your cadence a little bit more because of the long pole that's in the area. Let me get this chat question real quick. Tom asked, are there any face-off mechanic adjustments being made to the face-off mechanic due to COVID? This is something that we're going to be talking about this coming spring is looking at this. I know with several of the tournaments that I did this summer, 2 of the tournaments, we actually did a face-off mechanic adjustment where all players had to neutral grip, so motorcycle grip, and they could not go down to a knee. And then I did another tournament where we didn't actually go in. We just put the ball down on the field and went to the old NCAA mechanic for face-offs. That's something that the TSSAA and the TNLOA is going to have to discuss. I know from my perspective, I am going to push and suggest that all officials on the field have a mask. You don't have to wear the mask at all times, but whenever you're adjudicating the face-off and you're up next to the players, you have your mask over your face so that you can adjust the players. I will say they are making masks for lacrosse helmets that actually are clear plastic that go along the entire inside of the lacrosse helmet, a full-on mask. They made them for football, but by the time they got the patent on it and pushed it through, it was already halfway through the season. So I have heard of 2 coaches that are pushing their kids in the state of Tennessee to get these internal face masks. And remember, with any kind of visor in lacrosse, it must be clear. And if it's clear, we're perfectly fine. If it's tinted, they cannot wear it. I did have a person who texted me and asked about kids wearing sunglasses. This is completely off topic, but since I'm talking about those masks and visors, kids can wear sunglasses in lacrosse. They do not have to be prescription. That is not something we ever ask for. Having a prescription for glasses is not part of our rules. We do not care. Kids are allowed to wear sunglasses underneath their helmet, but they cannot wear sunglasses and a clear visor. They can't double up. Now, they can have regular glasses and a clear visor, but one cannot be tinted in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I hope that answered that question. Okay, I need to move our faces out of the way. Come on, there we go. So this next one is on who is going to, who is the on-official in a settled situation. So settled situations, the face-off has occurred, all counts have been settled. We have no counts. The lead and the trail officials are only looking to where the ball is. So who is the on official and who is the off official? This next few slides is something I worked on for almost an hour to make sure I got this 100% correct. So oftentimes you're going to see either 1 triangle or 2 triangles. The blue one, which is where the lead is, the blue one will signify who is the on official. So right now we have the ball, the green circle, which is at X. It is behind the creases, behind the goal. The lead official is the on official. If the on official's responsibility, in this case, you see the lead is watching the ball, but also watching the entire goal area. One big thing that you'll notice in these next slides is that the trail and the lead officials' responsibilities always cross in front of the crease. we will always recognize the fact that there's going to be people right here in front of the crease. Since there's always going to be people right here, our zones have to cross in the middle of the crease. Also notice that the trail official, his responsibilities also cover this side of the crease. A trail official can make a crease violation call on this side of the crease. So this is, the ball is behind the goal. Ball moves over. You can see how the trail official's zone got a lot bigger from here to here. You'll also notice that the lead has moved down. Here's one of the biggest things to remember as a lead official playing the goal. The lead official needs to be as deep down the field closest to the inline as the deepest defender. Let me say that one more time. The lead official needs to be as deep as or as low as the lowest defender. Basically what I'm saying is if the lowest defender is right here on the crease and he's not playing the guy behind the ball, we as the lead need to be right in line with the lowest defender. But right here, I guarantee there's going to be a defender right here on the field. The lead has to be as low as the lowest defender. Same thing with the trail. The trail needs to be as high, or if not higher, than the highest defender. Same thing goes. Rotating the ball one more time. We started here. We're moving over to the side of to the alley. Rotate again. As soon as that ball comes up to goal line extended, it's the trail's responsibility now. So the trail now has the responsibility. We're now both officials now have zones that are split. The lead is also watching behind the goal for inline calls and in front of into the crease area in front of the goal. The trail is also looking in front of the goal and the ball, head on a swivel, even though our primary responsibility as the on official is to watch the ball. We have to keep our head in a swivel and watch the other zones. Moving again, you can see how from this position to this position, the ball has moved into the alley and the trail official has backed away. We have backed away. Our responsibility is now there. You can see how the lead official's responsibility has now gone towards our trail official from here to here. One more time. Oh, no, I'm going the wrong way. From here to here. Responsibilities have changed. The lead official now has more responsibility of the inside the box area. Now moving to the top of the box, trail official still has the main responsibility. Our zones are still crossing right there in the middle of the field in front of the goal. Lead's responsibility is still behind the goal with the inline. And this is one thing that Alan was talking about. This, where all of a sudden both officials can be considered the on official. The trail and the lead both have a primary responsibility of the goal of the ball possessor, of the person possessing the ball. This is where us as officials, we need to either communicate with each other or just at least look at each other. The ball has moved from the middle of the field, top of the box, to the top right of the box. As the trail official, who was the on official, will probably soon become the off official, means the lead is going to take responsibility of the ball moving to here. We have to recognize the fact that all of a sudden the other official has taken that responsibility. We see how the ball is moving away. So moving on. This is where I would like to see everyone in this position. US Lacrosse wants you where that gray L is. The gray L is in line with goal line extended. The reason I'm not a big fan of this is because of how far it puts you away from the goal. Instead, I would rather you as the lead back away behind goal line extended to open your body up to the entire top part of the field. Instead of pulling out into the alley and being much further away from the goal, we kind of back up a little bit behind goal line extended to view the entire field as the on. Again, same thing occurs. The lead official, who is now the on official, maintaining primary responsibility of the ball, is watching the ball and the goal together, and both officials' responsibilities are always crossing in front of the crease area, in front of the crease. Moving down again, you can see how the lead's position has moved from here to here. Main thing, if this is going to happen, the lead's main thing that he needs to look for in this position is a player behind the goal who's now going to be running over towards you. We never, ever want to let the ball go behind us. We always want to keep the ball in front of us. Always, always, always in front of us. Never let a player go behind you. If they possess the ball or they do not possess the ball, does not matter. Never let a player get behind you. That's when you're asking for trouble. The other thing is if you ever see players running around you, don't move. Just stay put. The worst thing you can do as an official is all of a sudden you have players running towards you because there's a loose ball near you. Get out of their way, but as soon as you get out of their way, stay put. Because when you're moving, you're asking to be hit. Because the players, they see you. And if you stay still, you're not going to move. Let's say you're 3 or 4 yards away from the ball. If you stay still, they see where you are. They know where you are. But as soon as you start moving, that's when you're asking to get hit in the back. 2 years ago, I did a game at Vanderbilt, and I was the wing official on a face-off. Face-off was squirting towards me. Possession was called. Ball was probably 5 yards away from me. I jumped to move out of the way, didn't see the defender behind me, and he just bowled me over. Just creamed me from the back. Wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I moved into his way. I should have stayed in place. Ball still moving down. Remember, this is a settled situation, on and off officials. Back to here. Lead is now going back up. Remember, the lead wants to be as low as the lowest defender. That's where the penalties are going to occur, is when that defender gets in the way. And then back to the original slide where we were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up and cover this one more time, just working the ball around the field. So ball starting at X, behind the goal. Lead is the on official. Ball moves over. Lead is still the on official because it's below goal line extended. Ball is now a goal line extended. Trail is now the on official. Ball moves into the alley. The trail backs out into the alley. Ball moves up to the middle of the field above the restraining line. Trail is still the on official. Ball is now in that butter zone where both officials can be considered the on official. This is where we need to kind of look at each other. Once that ball falls below the restraining line, both officials need to be kind of looking at each other to see who's going to be taking it. Ball moves into the alley. Still in the alley. Lead official still the on. Ball's now moving towards the crease, and then back to the X. So this is where we're looking for on officials and your zones, what everyone needs to be kind of looking at. Now, again, we're looking at everything on the field, but this is kind of the on primary responsibility versus what your peripheral vision needs to take into account. Okay. Move this one more time. So anytime a play is called dead and the official has blown his or her whistle for any reason, this is what we would consider a restart. So the on official will blow the whistle back into play. Let me say it again. In a restart situation, the on official will always blow the ball back into play. Whoever the on official is going to blow the ball back into play. At U14 in high school, they have quick restarts, which means the defensive player can be within 5 yards. And in order to be within that, the defensive player who's starting within 5 yards of the person possessing the ball on a quick restart, they must give a clear path to the goal. It doesn't matter if we restart the ball and the defender's only a yard away. There must be a clear path to the goal, meaning that the offensive player does not have to go around the defensive player to get to the goal, or he must get 5 yards away from the player before playing the offensive player. That is the rule on the quick restarts. No matter what, we cannot restart the ball when an offensive player is within 5 yards of the person possessing the ball. We cannot restart the ball. It's only for defense. On a restart, if we kill the play for a technical foul violation, ball goes out of bounds, flag down, inadvertent whistle, anytime we restart the play, the goalie will always have 5 seconds to return to their goal after a dead ball. Always. I know I've had a situation, it was Macaulay Severn. This was back in 2006. The goalie from Macaulay was known for doing almost like a full field clear at this time. He was running up the field. He ran up the field, threw the ball. Ball went off of his offensive player's stick, went out of bounds. Well, the goalie was across the midfield line. Severn's from Maryland. They wanted the quick restart. We said no, because they play NCAA up there. We gave the goalie 5 seconds to run from over midfield back to his goal. Because we had a dead ball, the goalie always gets 5 seconds to return to his goal. On every restart, you must always check to see that your partners are ready for the restart in a settled situation. Big keywords here is settled situations. If we have a fast break situation, that's not settled. We never ever want to kill or take away the opportunity for a fast break. If we have a fast break situation, we don't usually need to look at our other officials to see if everyone is ready. Just blow it back into play. We never want to kill the advantage of a team. But we're always going to check to see if our partners are ready. If we're in a dead ball situation, a flag has occurred, we have an out of bounds call, inline calls, that kind of thing. Every single time there's a dead ball restart, one person's blowing in the whistle, blowing the play back live. The other official needs to be signaling that he is ready. It means your arm is out. You're signaling that you're ready. At no point in a game, if we have a restart, should one official have both of his hands down to his side. At no point in the game. Every official on a restart must always signal that he is ready for play. Because let's say you don't look to see if your partner is ready and your partner's hands up because something's happening. Maybe you don't notice that there's an injury on the field and your partner's hands up in the air saying, don't start it. This is the hold signal, my hand's up in the air. And you blow the play back in, and within 2 seconds, there's a goal. Well, now you're going to have a situation on your hands because one official wasn't ready because he was dealing with an injured player, and all of a sudden you had a goal that now you have to wipe out because you didn't look at your partner. Always check to see if your partners are ready for the restart to occur. Always, always, always check to make sure that's going to occur. The mechanic for bringing a play from dead ball to live ball, hand up in the air, you blow your whistle, tweet, point the direction of attack and state the color that it is going. Tweet, blue ball, hold your hand there. Leave it there until the team that is getting the ball, that is supposed to possess the ball, gets the ball. Once they pick up the ball, you put your hand back up. Here's why I say it like that. a lot of times, I know I'm guilty of it too. Tweet, blue ball, hand back up. You didn't, if your partner doesn't know that you are signaling blue ball, or all of a sudden, maybe you point the wrong direction, we have a giant situation on our hands. And so again, a lot of times we come up with mistakes that have occurred during our career. And here's the big one that has occurred during mine. Summer tournament, Peachtree City, Georgia. I was with an official, and I was going to be with him for over half the day on Saturday, helping train him because he was getting ready to go for his TNLOA certification. So he's going to be with me half the day. The first game of the tournament is between the two teams in the U14 age division who were in the championship in the previous tournament that was held in North Carolina, and they both hated each other. We had a tie game with a minute left in a running time game. My partner, who's on the other side of the field, he's bench side, I'm far side, has an out of bounds call. He signals going my direction. I'm on the opposite side of the field, so I signal as well that it's going that direction. Every single player, both offense and defense, look at me, they see my signal, and they stay on my side of the field. He said the wrong color, or he said the correct color, but signaled the wrong direction. He didn't look at me to see that I was signaling the incorrect direction because of the mistake that he was making. Less than 3 seconds, I hear him blow the whistle. I'm looking down on my side of the field. Goal is scored. Goal scored. He runs up to me and says, "What do I need to do?" And I said, "It's a goal scored. We can't take this back now." He had to take an absolute tongue lashing from that coach because it was his mistake on signaling the wrong direction. If we ever signal the wrong direction, just blow your whistle a couple more times. My fault. It's blue ball. Like, call it out. Even if you were wrong the first time, at least you're making it correct. Blow your whistle, blue ball, hold it there until the person picks up the ball, hand back up, look at your partner, see that your partner's ready to go, blow the whistle back into play. Okay, a goal. A goal is good when the ball completely passes the plane of the goal, composed of the rear edge of the goal line and the goal pipes. There must be no technical fouls or personal foul scenarios against the scoring team for a goal to be scored. Notice how in this, there is not two flags down on the defensive team. In the high school mechanic, if we have 2 flags, we kill the play, unless there's an imminent scoring opportunity. If we have 1 flag, all of a sudden the guy starts running in, guy passes the ball to the guy in the crease, that guy gets slashed, we throw another flag, we can't kill that because we have an imminent scoring opportunity. We have to let this advantage continue to see what happens. If he doesn't take that advantage within 1 or 2 seconds, then we can kill the play, but we can't kill that advantage. Here is the mechanic for when a goal is scored. And I did fix this from last week. So we have a goal scored on the right-hand side. Lead is going to run into the crease, signal the goal. Following a legal goal, the lead will retrieve the ball, signal goal, underhand toss the ball to the trail, and then dead ball officiate while moving forwards towards his wing position and immediately giving the wait signal. So once the lead has signaled the goal, toss the ball to the trail. As soon as he gets up into his wing position for the face-off, he'll immediately give the wait signal, and he's looking to make sure to see if the entire field is ready for play. The trail official, following the legal goal, will watch for dead ball fouls. That's when our late hits are going to happen. We're going to wait for the partner to signal, proceed to retrieve the ball from the lead, and then move to the face-off official position. I watched a training video through US Lacrosse yesterday. And one thing that US Lacrosse wants us to get away from is overhand passing the ball in the 2-man mechanic. They always want us to underhand it. I've always underhanded the ball, but they want us to get away from the baseball passing of the ball. All of us have experienced the weird double bounce of a lacrosse ball. As soon as the lacrosse ball hits its second bounce, it likes to go in weird directions. Always underhand the ball. So this is on the right-hand side. From the left-hand side, same mechanic occurs. Following the legal goal, the lead will retrieve the ball, signal the goal, underhand toss the ball to the trail, and then dead ball officiate while moving towards his wing position. Big thing on this one, on the goal, we will blow our whistle to kill the play. We will not put our hand up when we blow our whistle for a goal. We're just going to blow our whistle for the goal. Blow the whistle, run in, signal goal, retrieve the ball, look for dead ball stuff to occur, and move up. Another great thing about this scenario, after a goal is scored, this gives a great opportunity for these officials to come together to talk about something. Hey, number 14 defense, we need to watch him. He's getting a little frisky on the interference stuff. It's a chance for us as officials to come together to talk to each other. Another thing is on this type of scenario where I have both officials moving towards each other, when both officials are moving towards each other, it's another great opportunity for us to dead ball officiate and just talk to the players. If the players have a problem, if they think something's happening, they can talk to us. We need to make ourselves available at this time after a goal is scored. Now, I did see that someone put something into the chat, so let me answer that real quick. Ed said, to clarify, the lead watches the action around the ball carrier or the ball carrier. So so everyone can see Ed's question. That's a great question. If you just watch the ball carrier, you're missing half. There's very few fouls that the ball carrier can do to a defensive player. He can ward and he can spear. Those are the only two that ball carrier can commit. The defensive player, on the other hand, can hold, slash, cross check, illegal body check, trip, interfere. You're going to watch the area around the ball carrier. Look at it like this. If you created a spot between the ball carrier and the defender defending him, look at the spot in the middle. If you look in the spot in between the nearest defender and the ball carrier and create a 5-yard circle around that spot, that is kind of our focal point, because then we can see the ball carrier and the nearest defender at the same time. We're looking at the area around. So where the ball carrier is and the defender picking that spot in the middle, and you're watching this entire area right here. As soon as that defender comes to play the ball carrier, all of a sudden this spot in the middle becomes a lot smaller. Now we're watching 5 yards around that area. Because remember, legal contact can occur within 5 yards of the ball, whether it's not possessed or possessed. Legal contact can occur. So we want to make sure, sorry, I'm recovering COVID. We want to make sure that we're watching 5 yards around the entire ball. So rather than watching the ball carrier directly, you're watching the area around the ball carrier. I hope that answers your question, Ed. Okay, so now a little bit of film. There we go. So we're just going to watch for mechanics. So there's going to be a couple of technical foul violations that are going to occur doing this, and I'm going to name them off, but we're going to talk about technical fouls here in a little bit. But really, we're watching for mechanics during this gameplay. So balls on the far side of the field. Shoot, pass in. You can see how that lead official, who's down there on the left-hand side, backed way out to keep those players in front of him. So ball's up on top of the box. So now we have a restart. Goalie has the ball, passes over to defender. And again, we're just kind of following the play of the game. One of the biggest ways that we can shake off the rust as officials is just to watch some lacrosse. Just watch it. The one thing I hate about having become an official is I never watch the game anymore. I'm always watching the other officials. That's the only thing that I've hated about becoming a lacrosse official is I now watch everything else besides the ball carrier. So like I just talked about with Ed, figure out what we're looking for. We see the guy who has the ball, but we need to look in between where the ball is and the nearest defender. So now we have an inline restart. Guy picks up the ball, steps and bounce, blows the whistle to back into play, wheels his arm around his head, around his body. Another clearing situation. Big thing with this, I know the camera's moving a lot. I want you guys to train your eyes to not always watch the guy with the ball. Yes, you can see the guy with the ball, but you see how White's possessing the ball. Also look for other white players running towards the guy possessing the ball, because now we're looking for screens. Always looking at the middle of the crease, recognizing what the offense is doing. Right now, in this situation, the offense has no one in the crease. We as officials need to recognize that. There's no one in the crease. So therefore, our attention is now diverted away from the crease since there's nothing in there, watching everyone on the outside. Trail official up here is doing good, moving in and out, always continuously moving. Change of possession. That official is hauling on the left-hand side of the screen to get up the field as fast as he can. Goes all the way down to goal line extended. And he's past goal line extended already. Is on his high horse. Is really, really good positioning. Okay, I'm going to stop this right here. So back up a little bit. This next transition that we saw, let me get back to it. We're going to see a bunch of substituting that's going to occur. Remember that one of the technical fouls that we're going to talk about is the stall. And one thing that US Lacrosse wants us to be more judicious with is stalling this year. A team cannot be stalling if they're substituting. So as this ball is coming down to this side of the field, this new lead official is hauling to get down there is perfect. They tried to score. They failed in that attempt. All of a sudden, he passes it up. Number 9 right here just stops. They're not stalling right now. They're substituting. They're not trying to keep the ball from play, but now everyone is substituting. We always want to be looking for that in a substitution scenario. Now, in a stalling scenario, if play is going for 2 or 3 minutes and they're not making any advancement towards the goal, and then they start substituting, that's not going to reset that internal stalling clock. This is just initially off of the play. So goal is scored. I know they're zooming in. That lead official signals the goal, tosses the ball, getting ready to toss the ball up. I know they zoom in on the clock because no one knows that it's 1-0. Good face-off mechanic. That face-off official is backing out. He's far enough away to see what's going on. This right here is what we need to stop. This is why we've had so many face-off rules changes. This is a really long face-off that occurs right here. 1-1000, 2-1000, 3-1000, 4-1000, 5-1000, 6-1000, 7 1000. I already see something that's wrong. Does anyone else see something that's wrong with this face-off? Who is violating the face-off rules? It doesn't happen immediately, but it happens after about 2 seconds. You can see a violation occur. Can anyone tell me? You can unmute your mic and tell me what you think it is. The violation that is occurring right here on this face-off. 1 1000, 2 1000. There's the violation. Do you see it?
Red's holding.
You're saying red's holding?
Yep.
I'm seeing white holding because he's using his forearm against the red stick.
Oh, I see red's hand. I didn't see his forearm. Okay.
Yeah,
I see,
I'll go back
I see
again.
red's hand. Red's backhand is way up high. His front hand is pushing down on him, is what I saw. I didn't see the forearm.
Watch that white forearm. See how it's contacting that stick? Even though they're circling.
Well, no, I don't know. See, you're wrong. Red's on top of his I don't know. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
If the forearm's on the stick, if red's on top of the forearm, it's just the opposite. It looked like red was pushing into the forearm.
And that might have been the case. I mean, that's one of those scenarios. If we don't see something, we need to make it very, very aware. Get the ball out. Tell them to get the ball out. Because you as the official make the determination whether someone's holding the ball too long. If they're halfway clamped on it, technically they're not clamped on top of the ball. If they're completely clamped on top of it, they have the ball. But this circling for 5 or 6 seconds, like, you need to tell them, get the ball out, get it out, get it out. That kind of stuff, those face-offs that last that long, that's where we're going to run into a lot of trouble, is when that kind of stuff is occurring. And that hold is what this official is calling. That's white. That white was holding, or that he was withholding the ball. He was clamped, or no, white was withholding the ball. It's a quick restart. We never want to kill the advantage. We're going to watch about 2 more minutes of this, and we're going to move on. Good defense. Still clearing the ball up the field. That lead official that defender just passed was in the much wronger, was not in the correct position to make that call, to make that crease call. He was just jogging down the field. He needs to run down that field. We need to beat the player down that field. Okay, I'm going to pause it right here and go back to this scenario, because we have 2 things that occur right here. So this next transition that we have some goalie interference. Do we think it's going to be goalie interference that's occurring? I know on this next transition right here, red does step into the crease. We can see it, but I want you to tell me if there's goalie interference or not. This is one of the technical fouls we're going to talk about today. Tell me if there's goalie interference. Did anyone see goalie interference right there? We don't all have to say anything at once. From my perspective, remember, a goalie trying to play the ball outside of the crease. If a goalie tries to play a loose ball outside of the crease, he can be stick checked if he's trying to play the ball outside the crease. It's not a goalie interference if he's trying to play a ball outside the crease. It is goalie interference if he possesses the ball and he's still within the crease and his stick is outside. Watch again. Goalie's still in the crease, still in the crease. He's trying to play the ball outside the crease. His stick is getting checked. That's not goalie interference. Red did step in the crease though. So white's going to get possession of this ball. Okay. So now let's talk about the transition game. So this is mechanics on a transition. So this is who is going to blow the whistle in on a transition. Remember, the on official is always going to be the one blowing the ball into play. I'm going to move our faces one more time. There we go. The on official is always going to be the one that's going to blow the ball into play. So the ball is moving towards the top end of our screen. The restart is happening behind the goal. We can see the blue. He's going to be the one, obviously, is going to blow the ball in. The trail is in a good position on this restart. He's all the way up at the midfield line. The trail is watching the midfield line, watching for initial offsides penalties, and looking back with his peripheral vision to look for interference calls that are off the play, not within 5 yards. But the lead down here is going to be blowing the ball into play. Ball was on the far side of the field, in the alley. This official down here is still going to blow the ball into play because we're transitioning to the other side of the field. Lead is still going to blow this ball into play. Lead is still going to blow the ball into play. Biggest thing I want you to get across from this is on a restart, the official that was on that whose main responsibility was the goal on that side of the field will take the restart if it's on that side of the field. The other official's responsibility has to be at another place watching initial offsides calls and everyone else on the other side of the field. That's the big thing I want us to recognize. So this is now a full field. Let me move our faces one more time. Now, full field explanation. We have, I'm sorry, I keep on having to move this screen. I wish I could take that away. Okay, so this is full field. We can see the new lead is on the bench side at the bottom of the screen. The new trail is the one that's going to blow the ball in, the ball starting in the goal. You can see the responsibilities right now. The new lead, part of his zone is the goal, the entire midfield line. But he's also looking back, so we have zone crossing again. The new trail will take all restarts on his side of the field. The new lead must get to the midline as quickly as possible to look for initial offsides infractions. Remember, just initial offsides infractions. Now, here's something that I do. And I learned this from, an official out of Atlanta. I cannot remember his name to save my life. But what he told me was, as a new lead in a two-man mechanic, if we have, let's say we have all 6 players on this side of the field of the restraining line, and I'm sitting right here. Let's say Steve is down here and he's the trail, the new trail, I'm the new lead. If we have the goalie in his crease and all 6 players in the box, and I'm right here looking for initial offsides, as soon as I see one person, one pair of people cross the line, and now I have 4 pairs on this side, I'm going to stay with that last pair. So let me say that again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. They're all right here. I'm sitting right here. The ball's transitioning my direction as the new lead. Once a pair of players crosses midfield, I'm going to stay with them and say, I'm done with the midfield line. Because these 2 guys are making me to where I'm not going to have offsides on this side of the field. That's what I'm going to pay attention to, is initial offsides penalties. The Bermuda Triangle. Go ahead.
Gene.
Yeah.
Is that new? Because I remember we were always being taught to follow when the ball goes, to go with the ball. Is that a new thing to go with the?
No, you're correct, to follow with the ball. This is just in a settled clearing situation. That's what I'm talking about. I'm still saying the ball is down there with the goalie.
Oh, okay.
So what Steve's saying is, if it's a quick scenario, that goalie passes the ball real quick, we screw the offside. We're not going to pay attention to the offside. We're just going to go.
I gotcha.
If it's a real quick scenario, we just want to go, just bolt. This is a settled clearing situation. Goalie is starting with the ball on a restart.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
Initial offsides penalties, that's a real quick call. But if we don't see initial offsides penalties, just leave midfield. Just leaves, because you have a goal to cover. You're 100% right. This is just in a settled situation. I should have made that more clear. I apologize if that was confusing. So this is the Bermuda Triangle. Any restart near the substitution area must be pulled out of this triangle. You cannot restart the ball within the triangle. Do not ever do it. Pull it laterally away from the sideline. The new lead needs to help with this mechanic. It will keep substitution infractions from occurring. If the restart is going to be right where that red dot is, both officials need to recognize, no. Go to the wing line. Pull it out. The ball should be moved laterally towards the middle of the field, no nearer to the midline than when the play was called dead. Once the play is ready, the lead will now give the ready signal and proceed to that lead position. Coming from the opposite direction, same thing we just looked at. We have the new trail on the bench side of the field, the lead at the very top of the screen. He will take all restarts on his side of the field. And now we have this Bermuda Triangle thing that's occurring again. Any restart near the substitution area must be pulled out of the triangle. This trail has to recognize this. The new lead needs to help with this, to mitigate these substitution infractions. Pull it in. Get it away from the sideline. Just get it away. The ball cannot be put any nearer to the sideline, nearer to the midline, but you can push it in as far as you need to push it in. I always suggest just move it to the wing line, because the wing line should be far enough away from the sideline where it's not going to matter. That 5 yards away is not going to matter. Get it away and out of the triangle. So more transition games, transition play. The ball is down here on the right-hand side of the screen with the goalie. You can see the trails mechanic, what he's moving to. Once the goalie has that ball, that lead, the new lead needs to push up to the midfield line for the start of that clear. The trail needs to stay with the ball. Stay with the ball carrier on transition clearing. Stay with the ball carrier. Trail push the midfield line, staying with the ball. Stop at midfield to check for offsides. Then move to 5 yards above the box. The lead will push the GLE once the ball crosses the midfield line. Now, this is something Steve was talking about. Once the ball is getting close to midfield, just go. Just go ahead and proceed down to our position on the goal. Just proceed down. Just get down there. There's no reason to stay at midfield. We do not need to stay at midfield, and once that ball crosses, then go. Now we're out of position. Once the ball is getting close, just go. There's no need to stay there. It's only for initial offsides. And here's what I mean by initial offsides. There's a defender and offensive guy that are right on midfield. Those are the two guys we're watching for on transition plays. But if those guys aren't there, just go. Just leave midfield and proceed down the field. Coming from the other direction now, bench side officials is now the new trail. Same thing occurs. Big thing on both of these is that both officials must echo the signal that the ball has been possessed or made contact with anything inside of the box. Signal up, signal in the direction of attack. Up, and this way you can go up and point at the box if you want to. That's fine too. Up and point, or up in here. That's perfectly fine. But both officials need to signal it. The lead official, the new lead that's going down to the right, cannot see the entire box. Unless he has 20/10 vision, he can't see the entire box. Both officials need to signal and always echo that signal. Remember, as the new trail, Your responsibility is the 4-second goalie count, 4-second crease count, and the 20-second clear to get across midfield. The lead will have the 10-second count once it crosses midfield to get into the attack area or the box. All right. This is penalty relay. This is the 2-man penalty relay mechanic. So once a penalty relay has occurred, the other official shall ready the field for the restart. Where and who will start with the ball and tell the goalie what the foul is. So in this scenario, the lead has thrown a flag. The dark black circles, the dark black L and the dark black T are where the official has started. That's where the play was blown dead. That's where the officials were. The lead throws his flag. Boom. Doesn't matter what it is, technical foul or a personal foul. Both officials need to come together, run towards each other. Trail on the far side of the field needs to be the one that creates this relay. He needs to relay this to the table, who's on the bottom of the screen, on the bench side of the field. This is who needs to do this. The teacher in me wants to say this. Why do you think the trail on the far side of the field needs to be the one that does this and not the lead on the bench side of the field? You can unmute your mic and tell me. In this situation, why does the trail need to be the one that does this penalty relay and not the lead do the penalty relay?
To ensure they're both on the same page.
Exactly. They need to ensure they're both on the same page, but also it's the lead's responsibility for this goal. The lead is responsible for this goal. So once the lead tells the trail what the penalty is, you say, it's on blue, 27, push with possession. Tell them what it is, 30 seconds. Give them the color, the number, the foul, and the time. Give them all 4. Now, I know that if I'm reffing with Steve, I can look at Steve and say, hey, Steve, it's 47 with a push. I can just tell him that, and he knows it's going to be on blue 47. He pushed him. He knows it's going to be 30 seconds. Know your partner. Know what your partner does. But if your partner doesn't have as much experience, color, number, foul, time. Those 4 things are what we need to be saying to each other. Once the trail walks over and adjudicates that foul, the lead needs to inform the goalie of what the penalty is and where the ball is going to restart. Hey, goalie, man, it's a push. It's a 30-second penalty. It is releasable. The ball is going to start behind me on the right-hand side of the field. Tell the goalie where the ball is going to restart. The quicker you can get a great relationship with that goalie, the more receptive he will be to you giving him asking you questions. And they will. The goalie will always ask you, is it releasable or non-releasable? I don't know why goalies always do that, but they do. Is it releasable or non-releasable? But let them know what the penalty is, how long it lasts, and where the ball is going to restart. That's when you figure out who's got the ball. Hey, number 2 on the far side of the field, throw me the ball because the ball is going to start on my side of the field. Now, in a penalty adjudication, wherever the ball is blown dead is where that ball needs to restart. If the ball is blown dead above the box, that's where the ball needs to restart. If the ball is blown dead inside of the box, the ball needs to be moved laterally outside of the box. Now, here's what I mean by that. Let me use my cursor for a second. Let's say this flag right here is exactly where the ball was blown dead. The ball needs to be restarted here. Ball was blown dead down here. Ball needs to be restarted here. Ball is blown dead here. It needs to be moved outside of the box. Myself, I do not like restarting the ball on the top of the box up here, unless it's way up here. I will always push a player to one side of the field. If the ball was blown dead right here inside the box, I'm going to move him out to here. We want to move the offensive player outside of the box. The only time we will ever restart the ball with the offense possessing the ball inside of the box is after a timeout, after the ball has been thrown out of bounds. Let's say the team shoots the ball. Boom, ball goes out of bounds right here at X. Team calls a timeout. Then we restart the ball right here. That is the only time we will ever restart the ball with the offense possessing it inside of the box. Other than that, we will always, no matter if it's a technical foul or a personal foul, move the ball outside of the goal area. I hope that makes sense. And there's no questions. Good. All right. So I keep on having to move the faces. Okay. From the opposite side, same thing. The trail is going to take that penalty relay. The lead is going to run in, tell them what the penalty is. The trail is going to go back and adjudicate color, number, foul, and time. Those are the four things we're going to adjudicate. Now, here's the other thing. In a foul adjudication, this is the process as the person who's adjudicating the foul to the table. Never, ever say, I got, or I have, or we have, or we got. It's not part of the mechanic. Walk over to the table, blue, 27 / 1 minute. Blue 27 / 1 minute. Say it 2 times in a row. Say it twice. Now, we don't have to anymore is do a number. We don't have to do numbers anymore. We don't have to do that. I still do because it's hard to break a habit, but we don't have to signal numbers with our hands. If you do signal numbers with your hands, just as a reminder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's a good thing for the penalty relay from lead to trail in this situation, is to always go, hey, it's number 14. Just say it, number 14, and just signal it with your hands, number 14. Now, here's the other thing before I get out of penalty relay. If the trail has the penalty in this situation, the trail still needs to tell the lead what the penalty was, because that lead still needs to tell the goalie what the penalty was and then ready the field for play. Everyone still needs to do it. The other thing is before we restart the play, once the penalty has been relayed to the table, we have the correct person in the box. The ball is ready to start. The goalie knows what is going to be happening. Both officials need to communicate with each other on who is going to restart this ball after a dead ball scenario. Following a dead ball scenario, if the ball is going to be restarted on top of the box in this area, the trail will restart the ball. If the ball is going to be restarted in this alley, the trail will restart the ball. If the ball is going to be restarted in this alley, the lead will restart the ball. So let me say that one more time. If the ball after a dead ball scenario is going to be restarted in the far side alley next to the lead will restart it. If the ball is started on top of the box or in the near side alley on the bench side, the trail will take everything in this L, the lead will take everything here. Okay? Same thing when I move here to the other side of the field. The trail will take everything in this L, and the lead will take everything right here and the inlines. Let's make sure that we're getting this correct. One of the biggest things that irks me as an official is when it's unnecessary for my partner to blow it in when it puts them out of position. Remember, mechanics, mechanics, mechanics. Get to your position to restart play and let the other person do it. Same thing occurs in this scenario. Even if the ball is restarting right here and the team is clearing this direction, this trail is going to take all restarts on this side of the field. We've already covered that. All restarts will occur on that side of the field. Okay, now some more film, and then we're going to move into some technical fouls, and I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a chance to answer some questions. No one's really asked a ton of questions today, but let me move our faces one more time. And we're going to watch a little bit of film. Remember, we're really mainly only concentrating on the mechanics. This is a two-person mechanics game. I know it's kind of fuzzy and I apologize. We're only concentrating on the mechanics. So this is our lineup before the game has occurred. We're going to watch about 6 minutes of this gameplay. So face off, players are already down in the field. The lead is in a good position, signals that the ball was there, runs in, blows his whistle, signals the goal. Notice that he does not put his hand up when he blows his whistle. Like with everything else, the only time we're not going to lift our hand when we blow our whistle is on a goal. Any other time, we're gonna put our hand up. Wheels his hand in possession. The new lead is already in a good position. Ball's working its way around the goal. Now, again, I want you guys, while watching this film, is to train your eyes. Look at the spot between the ball carrier and the nearest defender. And you can see how that spot, that area slowly closes in. This white team is running a zone defense, which they really don't know what they're doing. But the black team or the blue team is not really pressuring the ball. This white team definitely does not know what the zone defense is. We can recognize that. Now they got two guys in the crease. We're looking at the spot between where the ball carrier is and the nearest defender, but also keeping our eyes on the crease, kind of flipping our eyes back and forth. That lead is in good position down there on the left-hand side. He is all the way down on that end line. Now he runs back up to GLE. Blows his whistle, runs in, signals the goal, gets the ball, looks at his partner. Great mechanics on this. Great mechanics for that lead. Another face-off. Lead over there is giving the counts, step in the box. They do the signal up and down. White team is still in the zone defense. Remember, the offensive player who's possessing the ball can't cause a foul unless the defensive guy is playing him. So why watch him intently when he can't cause a foul? Watch the area around the offensive player. That lead over there on the top of the screen is in very, very, very good position. He's the off official right now. He's still the off official. Now he's the on official. Still the on official. Now the off official. So he's watching that goal, watching the crease. There's two guys in the crease with 4 defensive guys. Now 5 defensive guys. There's a lot going on in that crease. So in that crease, we're looking for interference calls, holding, pushing the back. Now we got a scrum.
So Gene, I have a question where you talked about the fella, the lead official down on the crease.
Yeah.
He never went as deep as the deepest defender though. He just stayed about the 11.
No, you're right. You're right. The only thing that I say with him is when again, I say they're in zone defense. This defender's not going all the way back behind the goal. I wish he would go back behind the goal whenever the ball is behind here. Is it required? Yeah. No. Is it something that I want to see? Yes.
Okay.
If the ball is behind the goal, go behind the goal about maybe 2 or 3 yards. It's putting you in a better position. I really don't like being right on GLE, because if you're right in line with GLE and both those goal pipes are like this, well, you can't see the other goal pipe. So technically you don't know if the ball is completely past the plane of the goal. If you're behind GLE, all of a sudden you can see both goal pipes. So I always like to be behind it like a yard to a half a yard at all times. He's not going behind it as far, and I can kind of see why he's doing it. It's because they're in such a high zone, in such a very strong zone defense, which again is not working. But the other thing I want to mention is this: the play before, we had a scrum. We had a scrum that took place. We had like 7 players in that scrum. There's 2 youth age levels that have a scrum rule. What 2 youth age levels have a scrum rule? I've taken the rules exam and it does list the scrum rule in the rules exam. The 8U and 10U age levels both have a scrum rule. If more than 4 players run to play a loose ball, you have to kill the play. Kill it and award it via alternate possession. That's the scrum rule. For 12U and 14U, there is no scrum rule, but we kind of look at it. High school, there's no scrum rule. But if we have a situation where there's 7 or 8 players fighting for the ball in a scrum, as officials, we need to look for something to call. We don't want to disadvantage a team, but if we have 7 players in the middle of a scrum fighting for a ball, nothing good is going to happen out of a giant scrum. Nothing good is going to occur. So got about 1 more minute of watching this play, then we're going to move into some technical fouls. As we can tell, obviously the blue team is better than the white team in this scenario. Remember, we're trying to get our eyes trained. We're looking at the spot between the ball carrier and the nearest defender. Because remember, the offensive guy cannot cause a foul unless the defensive guy is playing him. The defensive guy cannot cause a foul unless the offensive guy is playing, is right there next to him. So we got a clearing scenario. That lead is staying with the ball. Even though he's walking, so is the goalie. Ball is now moving up the field, down the sideline. Now we got a clear going the other direction. Now this is a fast break. This is where we need to 100% be on a high horse to get down the field. That was a long pass by that goalie. All right, and we're going to end that play. Okay, so before I move into our introduction to technical fouls, does anyone have any questions on mechanics before I move into our introduction to technical fouls? Okay, just a reminder on our mechanics. one official is always going to be the on, one official is always going to be the off, but there's always those fluffy areas. Something that Alex talked about last week at our training, 2 weeks ago at the training. There's always going to be the fluffy areas where both officials' zones come in contact with each other. We always need to be looking at each other to see who's going to be taking, because there can always be that scenario where something bad happens when we turn around and we don't realize that the other official has become on yet. We always want to be looking at each other and communicating with each other. We are the third team on the field. As the third team on the field, our communication with each other, the players on the field, and all game personnel is imperative. The more communication we have with everyone on the field, including our partners, the better off we will be throughout the course of the game. Okay. Now we're going to be getting into our technical fouls and an introduction to technical fouls. Now, tomorrow, the entire presentation tomorrow is going to be over technical fouls. So we're going to get into the first part of our presentation tomorrow. First part of this presentation over technical fouls and the play on. This presentation is 70 slides long. It is a very intensive, very intensive presentation. I have 25 minutes, which gives me enough time to cover the basis of technical fouls and the play on scenario. So our technical fouls that we can call on the field are a push, hold, illegal procedure, delay of game, interference, illegal screen, withholding, warding, illegal touching, substitution infraction, offsides, conduct, stalling, and crease violations. I am not covering crease violations today or tomorrow. I have an entire presentation over crease play and crease violation, an entire training over crease play. So the main point of technical fouls, which is rule 6 in our rule book, and it is the longest of the rules, is our technical fouls section in our rule book, is technical fouls are always of a less serious nature than personal fouls and include all violations of the rules except those listed as personal fouls and ejection fouls. A person who steps out of bounds while possessing the ball is a technical foul. It is a line violation. A person who passes the ball and it goes out of bounds is a technical foul. It is a line violation. Technical fouls cover everything except for those of a serious nature in the personal foul and ejection category, which personal fouls is rule 5 in our rule book. We covered personal fouls 2 weeks ago at our last training. Awarding a technical foul. If the team fouled has possession of the ball, or there is a flag down on the offending player's team, the penalty shall be a 30-second suspension of that player on the offending team. He serves a penalty. If the ball is loose and there is no flag down, you will award the team that was fouled. Now, this is 3 or 4 rules all comprised into 2 bullet points. First rule. If a technical foul is committed against a team possessing the ball, it shall be a 30-second foul. Flag down, 30-second foul. In high school, we will let the play continue, even if the ball hits the ground. At the middle school level, even after a flag is thrown, we will let play continue unless the ball hits the ground, and we will kill the play. At all youth age levels, 14U and down, that's varsity middle school and lower, on any flag down scenario, FDSW, flag down, slow whistle. In all of those slow whistle scenarios, if there's a flag on the field and it's a youth game, middle school and lower, and the ball hits the ground, not on a shot, we will kill the play. In high school, that is JV and high school and up, college and men's, at that level, if the ball hits the ground, we still let play continue. Second part of this, if there is a technical foul and there already is a flag down on the field, if there's a flag on the field, it doesn't matter if the second foul is possessed or loose, a technical foul will be a flag. If there's already a penalty down on the field, the second foul, if it's a technical foul, does not matter if it's loose or possessed, it will be a flag if it's against the first team that had the first flag. Now, if we have a flag down scenario, this is the third rule, flag down scenario, and the team that was the offended team has a technical foul, there is no flag because they killed the play because of their own fault. It was their fault that the play was killed. Fourth rule within this, I know it's very intensive. Technical fouls are hard. Technical fouls are hard to adjudicate. Fourth foul fourth rule with technical fouls is technical fouls that occur during dead ball scenarios. If a technical foul occurs during a dead ball scenario, not during a live scenario, if it occurs on the team that's supposed to gain possession of the ball, they will lose possession of the ball. If a technical foul occurs during a dead ball scenario on the team that was going to be the defensive team, it will be a flag down time serving penalty. 4 different penalties for just adjudicating a technical foul. Okay, rule 710. If there is no flag down and a player commits a loose ball foul or line violation technical foul, goalkeeper interference or crease violation, and an offended player may be disadvantaged by the immediate suspension of play, the official shall visually and verbally signal play on and withhold the whistle until such time as the situation of advantage gained or lost has been completed. That is the U.S. lacrosse way of saying, if there is no flag down and the ball is loose, there is our scenario. There's no flag on the field at all, and the ball is loose. We will use what is technically called a play on scenario. The hold position, which our hand is up in the air, which is what we use in all dead ball scenarios and before face-offs. The hold position, hand up in the air, is our play on signal. We will visually and verbally signal play on, and we yell it out loud. That is allowing the team that was disadvantaged by a technical foul to gain an advantage. If that team picks up the ball, means they possess the ball, our play on is now over. The second part of this article, the play on shall have elapsed and the official shall cease to signal when. In the case of a loose ball technical foul situation, the offended team gains possession. So that means we have a loose ball push. The team gains possession after the push. Our play on is now over. In the case of a crease violation in which the goalkeeper has possession, the play shall continue until the offended team is disadvantaged. So let's say the goalie has possession of his crease. The other team goes through the crease, or the ball is loose in the crease. Guy steps in the crease, play on. Once the goalie picks up the ball, the play on is now ceased, or when the offended team commits a violation or penalty. So if we have a play on scenario, blue team pushes the white team, ball is loose on the ground, it's not possessed. Lost my train of thought. Play on, blue pushes white. We have a play on for a push in the back. Let's say white pushes blue. Well, the first play on that we have is going to be the one that we call, not the second one. The second one is going to end our play on scenario. We cannot have 2 technical fouls in a row on on both teams. The first technical foul is going to be the one that sits. Now, this is a very long-winded way of saying it takes a good 2 years of officiating to get really, really good at officiating technical fouls. It takes years of experience to officiate technical fouls. In my previous Saturday training that I had over personal fouls, I want all new officials to the game of lacrosse to concentrate more on personal fouls. Those are your money-making penalties. Those are the ones that everyone that is in a danger to the players on the field. They can cause injury. Those are the ones I want everyone to concentrate the most on. Technical fouls take years to fully understand, and that is perfectly fine. We always want to be aware that technical fouls can occur both while possessed and loose. Personal fouls can also occur while possessed and loose, but we have to notice the difference. We have felonies and misdemeanors. Personal fouls are felonies. Technical fouls are misdemeanors. Know the difference between the two. There's a lot of gray area where they fluff in between each other, but knowing the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor in lacrosse will let you go a long way in recognizing personal versus technical fouls.
Gee, can I jump in for a second?
Go ahead, Steve.
I agree with you 100%, but with technical fouls, just understand pushing. You got to learn about pushing first, because pushing leads to misdemeanors, lead to felonies. But you're right. Understand the personal fouls, but understand pushing, because that's kind of important.
No, exactly.
Right.
Most of the film that we're going to cover for technical fouls today is 7 videos on push. So pushing and interference is something we're going to cover a lot. Biggest thing with technical fouls is technical fouls can occur both loose and while possessed. I will say it again. Possession is carrying, cradling, passing, or shooting. That is possession. If a person is going for the ball and they just push the ball forward, that's not possession. Remember, a technical foul that occurs while a team is possessing the ball is a 30-second penalty. A technical foul that occurs while loose is a play on. Make that correlation between the two. All right. Here's why we have technical fouls. We stole technical fouls from soccer. Now, this is something I learned in a training that I did about a month ago, is the international rules of lacrosse. If there's a technical foul and play is stopped because of a technical foul, a face-off occurs. Just like in hockey, how there's face-offs that occur everywhere on the ice, the same thing occurs in international lacrosse. If there's a technical foul, they literally have a face-off where the technical foul occurred. Doesn't matter where it is. There could be a face-off in the wing outside the box. There could be a face-off behind the goal. We stole this from soccer of the advantage disadvantage. How in soccer, the guy puts his hand up and he says, I have an advantage, and he wants to see if they maintain that advantage. We are trying to preserve the flow of the game. Instead of stopping and starting the game at all times, we're trying to preserve the flow of the game. And we're keeping the speed of the game fluid and quick. Lacrosse is the fastest sport on 2 feet, and we need to keep it that way. The biggest principle is not to take away an imminent scoring opportunity. If we have a team that's transitioning up the field, they're clearing the ball, and all of a sudden they have a fast break, but one team has committed a technical foul, we'll yell play on. But if he has a clear path to that goal and an imminent scoring opportunity, a fast break scenario, we do not want to kill that opportunity for that team to keep that advantage. The other thing is one team, just one, must maintain the advantage during a play-on scenario. If we have a loose ball technical foul, on one team, the other team is going to get possession of that ball, no matter if they pick up the ball in a timely manner or not. One team must maintain that advantage. The most common penalty that we will come up with in technical foul scenarios is the push. We will have this more than anything else, is a push. A push from behind is illegal. It is illegal when it is from behind and creates a disadvantage. But let's make the disconnect. Misdemeanor, felony, violent contact with the back is a personal foul. A push with possession is a 30-second suspension from play. A player is allowed to play an opposing player on their back as long as the pressure is equal and does not disadvantage the player. Here's basically what it stated. If you have an offensive player who turns his back and is backing into a defensive player, that defensive player is allowed to play that offensive player on his back with the area between his hands, as long as they're not more than shoulder width apart, and stand him up and stop him from moving. He is allowed to do that. That is not a push. There has to be a blatant disadvantage from a push in the back. It is the most common thing that we will see. Let's go in two scenarios. Ball is loose. Ball's rolling along the ground. Two guys are running. Black team pushes the white team. White guy runs past the ball. He is disadvantaged because of that push. Loose ball scenario, same two guys, black team, white team, running towards the ball. They're both jockeying for position. They're jostling each other, playing each other on the back, but no one has gained an advantage or a disadvantage. That's not a push. It is the hardest thing to recognize in the sport of lacrosse, is the advantage, disadvantage, because it happens so quickly. Now, we're going to watch some push advantage, disadvantage scenarios. So this first one, it's going to play itself again. We have a loose ball, black and white team. Ball still loose. They're fighting for the ball. Black was running. White pushes him over the ball. That is a blatant disadvantage that has been caused. Nothing's happening. Ball is loose. Ball is loose. There's the push. Play on. Tweet. You can see all the players just stopped because there was a play on. Now, that also brings into account our how long we want a play on to occur. The play on scenario really depends on what's happening. Advantage, disadvantage is one thing, but player safety is another. If a disadvantage has been caused and player safety is now in question because of that disadvantage, we're going to kill it immediately. Just kill it. Nothing good is going to happen out of us saying play on and letting it go for 4 or 5 seconds and then fighting for the ball. Nothing good is going to come out of it. Play on, 1,000, 2,000, tweet. Just blow your whistle. Any more than that, you're asking for something else to happen. It is what it is. Letting a play on go for an extended period of time is just asking for something else to compile on top of it. And all of a sudden you might have a technical foul, but now you have a personal foul because you let the play on go too long. Now you're going to have the coach on your tail yelling at you like crazy. Because remember, a coach is going to yell for a push about 13,000 times during a game. It will be the most common thing that a coach is going to yell at you for, is a push. Remember, it is up to you to determine whether it was an advantage or a disadvantage. It is up for you to determine that. Okay, so here's the next Next clip we're going to watch. So, oh no, not this. This is the wrong one. I'm sorry. That is a full game clip. That is not what I was looking for. Here you go. Okay. It's old clip, fuzzy. The referees are wearing white shorts that tells you how long ago it was. Okay, so this is a flag down scenario. Let me go back real quick. Sorry, I'm dealing with my school's Office 360 account, and it's fighting me a little bit. Go back to this clip. Okay. Boom. Okay, so this come on. This clip is a possessed loose ball, or a possessed push. So let's watch it one more time. It's a push with possession. So ball's loose. Black picks it up. He's running toward the sideline. White pushes him out of bounds from the rear. We know he pushed him from behind, and it was from the rear. It is a push with possession. So it is a flag down, 30-second foul. Flag down. Let it finish out, and we're going to watch this official come in. Look at those shorts and those socks. Oh, I'm so glad we don't do that anymore. He signals. Technical foul, 30 seconds. Now here's a push with possession in slow motion. Green had the ball. He pushed him with possession. Here it is fast. It's a blatant disadvantage. Pushes him straight in the back. Here's another one in slow motion. So White's got the ball. Push. It's a push with possession. Here's another one, push with possession. This is the faster version. It's a push. It is what it is. Doesn't matter if they get angry at you, it's still a push. So this guy's running up the field. White's on his back and pushes him down to the ground. Push with possession, flag down. Same one sped up, pushes him in the back with possession, flag down. He goes to the penalty box. Here's a push in slow motion, running down the field. Now, from your perspective, did he have possession when he was pushed, or did he not? It's something to always think about. We have to see the entire play in any technical foul scenario. We have to view the entire play from beginning to end. Did he have possession when the push occurred? Did he not have possession when the push was occurred? Even if our adjudication is late, our adjudication is still correct and incorrect. So let's see the entire play. That's a push, loose ball push. There was no possession. Here's another one, loose ball push. Ball's loose. He pushes him over the ball. That is a loose ball push. Another loose ball push. Sped up. Boom. Here's another loose ball push in slow motion. Ball's loose. White definitely disadvantages Black by pushing him in the back. Here's the same one sped up. Ball's loose. Push. And you heard him play on, said push. Here's another loose ball push in slow motion. Ball was loose, contact to the back, same one sped up. That was a loose ball push. Blue's going to get it back. The offended team is going to get that ball back. Here's another one in slow motion. They're running towards the ball. Green pushes blue over the ball. That's a blatant disadvantage. Loose ball, push. Here's another push in slow motion. Run towards the ball. Green pushes red in the back. That's a disadvantage. We're going to call that every single time. Same one, sped up. Run towards the ball, pushes him in the back. Loose ball, push. What we're looking at is who is gaining the advantage because of this foul. This one sped up. Green gains the advantage by pushing red in the back. Pushes him in the back. That is a loose ball push. Still going with the pushes. Ball is loose on the ground. Yellow pushes white. White falls down. White was disadvantaged. Play on. Same clip sped up. Another one slowed down. Loose ball push. Green pushes white in the back. White's disadvantaged. It is a push. Ball's loose. Push. It's over. Now, I'm going to stop this right here. Okay, so we had all of these occur, all of these pushes occur. But there was always advantage, disadvantage. Always advantage, disadvantage. The other main technical foul that we're going to see a lot is an interference call. And this is going to be the last one we're going to cover. And then I'm going to open up to people answering questions, or if they want me to go back into some film, we can go back into some film. Interference is another technical foul. Interference, just both hands across the chest, interfering with a player not possessing the ball and not within 5 yards, high school, or 3 yards for youth is illegal. Notice how I made that difference. High school is 5 yards. All youth is 3 yards. If possessed, is a 30-second suspension from play. This is why we're always keeping an eye, both officials are keeping an eye on the crease area, because that's where our interference calls are going to occur, because they're more than 5 yards away from the ball, 99% of the time. This is why officials cannot ball watch. We always have to use our peripheral vision to see the entire field. So here is an interference call. I think I have 3 of these. So this is, you make the call from US Lacrosse. Is it legal contact or an interference? So blue's working the ball around the goal. Did you see number 6 in the middle? Or did you miss it? See how number 6 hits this guy? Did you think that was within 5 yards? Or did you think it wasn't within 5 yards? Well, if we use the yard lines, he's 8 yards away. That is interference. He caused a disadvantage. Caused a disadvantage to blue number 4. That is a flag down because the ball was possessed at the time. This thing's fighting me. Okay, so but those are the two most common technical fouls that we're going to come across. The play on scenario is a difficult one to adjudicate, and it's one that takes time to adjudicate, and it's something you learn from over time. And it's something you're going to learn from veteran officials. The technical foul, recognizing the technical foul being in a possession scenario is a little bit easier. The loose ball technical foul scenario is a difficult one. It is what it is. But knowing the difference between our personal fouls and our technical fouls is one thing, but now we have to, with the technical fouls, separate it again to possessed and not possessed. So recognizing those two key things, and this is all I wanted to do with the introduction into technical fouls and preparation for tomorrow. tomorrow's training is only going to cover the play on scenario. Technical fouls, tons and tons of film tomorrow over every single kind of technical foul. But that's it for today's training session. Now, I know it's 10:02 and I pulled you past 10 o'clock. You can leave if you would like to, but if you would like to ask a question, please unmute yourself, ask a question. You can also type it in the chat if you would like to. Ask a question about the mechanics we've covered. We covered transition mechanics, restarting mechanics, so restarting the ball after a dead ball scenario. We talked about the Bermuda Triangle right in front of the bench. We also talked about our face-off mechanics of who's going to be looking at what, who's the on and off official. Then we looked at our first part of our technical foul adjudications and push and interference calls. Does anyone have any questions for me or for anyone else in our meeting right now over the technical fouls or our two-man mechanics, either covered today or the one we covered 2 weeks ago, which was mainly over the pregame and game management for two-man?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
All right, so if we can go back to the film where I think it was the green and the guy was taking the other, it was a push from behind and it was right near the alley. At what point, if he was only slightly behind the other player and it was a push, but it was possessed, if they are hip to hip, at what point is it legal just to ride him out though? You see what I mean? What I'm trying to say with if we can go back to that video, if we can find that one.
I think I know what you're talking about. And you said it was a green player?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, let me do this.
They were going away from us.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Let me share my screen one more time. When it comes to calling and not calling technical foul pushes, when it comes to those scenarios, when you're looking at a push and the advantage disadvantage, I know that there were a couple of things that I saw that maybe I would have let slide. Maybe I would have said, that's not enough of an advantage for me to say something. But then there were some other ones. Let me see what you think it was. No. Well,
both the players were facing away from us, and so we saw their backs.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going away from us, and it looked like they were in the alley or right next to the alley.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I remember which one you're talking about. So this is going to kind of go through them all. So if players are moving away from you, the biggest thing you need to recognize in a loose ball scenario is where the ball is in relation to where the foul occurs. Remember, legal contact is allowed within 5 yards. If people are hip to hip and hitting each other and jostling each other side to side, that contact is 100% allowed. Equal pressure is also allowed to the back of a player in a loose ball scenario, as long as it's within 5 yards. It's going to kind of go through all these. So something like that. I would even go up higher than that, because he did just look like he just decked him in the back. Even a legal body check I think I would even let that fly. I think it's this one you're talking about. Now, in this scenario, half of me says that blue player took a dive because he jumps, and Steve sees it too. It looks like he takes a dive. Now, in this, I think this is the one you might have been talking about with them moving away from you. Even if they're fighting over the ball, if one person falls to the ground, you probably need to have something, because this red player is 100% disadvantaged by this. let alone on the back end, after that push occurs and the guy's on the ground, the guy gets hip checked when he's on the ground. So we have to see the entire play occur. And all it matters is the amount of advantage versus the amount of disadvantage. If it's minor, we probably let it go. But if it's major, we need to call something. This is just going through all of those pushes that we viewed earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, I think what Tom was asking is, if a guy's riding him, there's no separation and he just rides him out of bounds, that's legal.
Correct.
But if he uses a thrusting motion, okay, almost, like a cross check, that would be the push that would make it illegal.
Yeah, and I think we need to separate this. Riding a player out of bounds when they're hip to hip and the ball is within 5 yards is legal because it's a legal hold. He is holding him and riding him out of bounds. That is perfectly legal. A legal hold is allowed within 5 yards. If he's riding a guy on his back, though, and continuously pushing him out of bounds, that's when you have to kind of see, is the guy that he is pushing, is he continuing his motion that way, or is he trying to slow down? If he's trying to slow down, I would honestly look at that more of as an interference call rather than a push call. Because now he's like, he's trying to, push him out, all that kind of stuff. But again, all that contact is allowed as long as the ball is within 5 yards. Legal holding from the back, from the side, from the front, on the cross is allowed as long as it's in 5 yards. Austin Cooper told me this summer. I had a loose ball hold, and because a ball was within 5 yards, and I think it was just, I wanted to give the team an advantage because they were getting murdered on the field. It was like 18-2. And Austin said, I will always have the hardest time giving anyone a holding technical foul if it's stick-to-stick contact. There is no such thing, because I looked it up after the fact and I called him and said, you're right. There's no such thing as an illegal hold within 5 yards or the person possessing the ball if it's stick-to-stick contact. We've all seen it when a person has their stick and they have their stick on another player and they drag them down to the ground. That is 100% legal because it's stick-to-stick contact and it's with the guy possessing the ball. If it's holding to the body, it's illegal, but stick-to-stick contact is legal. So that was a roundabout way. I see what you're saying, Ken, is like riding a guy out of bounds. At what point do we call that a push? And my black and white answer is to say when there's a disadvantage. If there's no disadvantage, we have nothing. There has to be a disadvantage within the rules of the technical foul. Does anyone else have any questions?
Can we still didn't get to the video that I had in mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna let this one keep playing because this is a huge compilation. These are illegal procedures. I honestly I can't find where you're talking about. Here we go. Is it that one?
No, they were both going in the other direction. On the camera and the players were both on our side of the field. And they're going from left to right.
Okay. The same ones. Is it that one you're talking about?
Nope. No, it's going to be.
Trying to find it. I'm in illegal procedures now. I can't find that one you were talking about. I will, and what I'll do is I'll email it to everyone and answer your question. And I think I have the scenario is you have it in the alley and both players are running towards the ball, and they're both
They're both
riding each other
both
going
of their
towards the
backs.
ball.
Both of their backs are we are looking at their backs, and it looks like he's just trying to hip check him out of bounds was all. But in this example, it was a push. And what I was trying to figure out is if their hips are even and he just sort of pushes him out of bounds. That would, in that example, it looked more like rather than a push, it just he rode him out.
Yeah, and you're. I think I know which one you're talking about. I'll have to find it. In that kind of scenario, riding hip to hip and just riding him out of bounds, just pushing him out of bounds, hip, and as long as it's within 5 yards, that's legal contact. Basically, all of these videos they want you to view it as black and white rather than the gray. And I should have made that well aware first, is that we want these to be the black and white. Is this a push or not a push? If he disadvantages them, it's a push. If it's not a push. The video that you're specifically talking about is in that kind of scenario. If you're going to call anything, I wouldn't call a push. I would call maybe an interference, because of the way, and just because he rode him out of bounds. Oh no, I know exactly which one you're talking about. It's this one. That one?
No, they were going from left to right, and both of their backs were toward us.
See, now that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have to go back through everything. I'll shoot an email to everyone with it. No, I agree with you. Again, it's all up to your judgment when it comes to any technical foul adjudication, whether you're going to call it or not. And a lot of that comes from experience. And just there's still things that I've only seen once or twice since I've been officiating. There's like a couple of things like throwing the cross. I have still yet to see one of those, but there's a huge portion in the rule book devoted to it. So there's a couple things I haven't seen. I'm going to go back through these and find that exact clip, and I'm going to email everyone that's in this call and show them exactly what the play is. But no, I appreciate that comment. Does anyone else have any other questions? I'm not trying to get away from that scenario, but I want to see if anyone else have any other questions.
That's right, Robert Joe. Holiday time is when the most wonderful culinary wishes can come true.
We got some people asking stuff in the chat. So a loose ball push, play on unless the offended team gains possession. A possession push is a flag down whistle, 30-second penalty, and restart and award the ball to the team. Yes. Ed asked me that question. That is 100% correct. I'm not sure. Okay. So Ed asked, can you confirm my thinking? He said a loose ball push is a play on. Correct. Unless the team gains possession. No, a loose ball push is a play on until the team gains possession. Not unless. It is until they gain possession. So if I have a push and I yell play on, it is a play on until they gain possession, or until you kill the play and award them possession. So we have to separate that. The next one is a possession is a push with possession is a flag down. Yes, it is a flag down slow whistle, which means we let the play continue until the offense commits a foul, technical or personal. The defense commits a second technical or personal foul, unless there's an imminent scoring opportunity. The ball goes out of bounds. There's an injury on the field, or there's a timeout called. So a loose ball, a flag down slow whistle scenario will continue until one of those 5 things has occurred. A timeout, ball goes out of bounds, injury on the field, offense commits a technical foul, or there's a second flag down and not an imminent scoring opportunity. And then, okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, well then I'm going to call it at that for today's training. We went 17 minutes over, and so I will definitely mark that down as you guys were in here for 2 hours and 17 minutes as part of your training. I appreciate you guys participating in today's training over the two-man mechanics. Tomorrow's training will only be over the technical fouls and the play-on scenario, watching a lot of the same film we watched today, just with the pushes, but we're going to get into all the other scenarios too. And we're really going to talk about the mechanics of the play-on scenario tomorrow. I highly suggest tomorrow, if you guys have questions, to just unmute and ask. The play-on scenario is very experience-based. So if you have experienced one of the technical fouls that we're going to be talking about, unmute, chime in, tell us what your experience was with that specific technical foul and what the scenario was. And then we can all answer each other's questions about the technical foul adjudication. But that's it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And thank you for participating in our training. I appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye, fellas.